Hey team, this is another blueprint video in which I explain some of my most favorite workflows and tips. Today I want to talk about how to make the most out of Ahrefs' new top pages feature because it's super interesting and helpful to uncover technical errors, algorithm update impacts, or other things that went wrong with websites. For today's case study, I took wish.com. Wish is a e-commerce marketplace. And as you can see in the average organic traffic, the domain has gone through a lot of ups and downs and has basically started to decline in traffic since November 2020. In the following video, I want to show you what happened to Wish and how you can use the top pages feature to better understand that. So first, whenever you dig deeper into a website, you want to narrow it down by language so that you can really understand what happened in a specific market. When we do that, we see that in the US, traffic started to decline in July 2020. And it started to decline pretty rapidly from a peak of 2.1 million down to 1.3 million. So a lot of lost traffic. Next, let's go to the top pages feature. And I show you a couple of filters that I strongly suggest you use to better get to the ground of things. First, we already spoke about countries. You want to do the same thing here. Let's use the US, the United States. Second, I like to filter out brand keywords because brand keywords typically skew traffic data quite a lot, right? When we talk about SEO, brand keywords are typically less interesting, at least initially, because we want to understand what non-branded or generic terms do and how they have changed over time. So select keyword, doesn't contain partial match, really important. Don't confuse partial and phrase match. And in this case, this would be the brand, which is Wish. Click on apply, show results. And now we have a much more accurate idea of traffic. We can also change from daily to weekly just to make visualization a bit easier since there are so many traffic spikes. And so now the first thing that we can see here is that there's a pretty strong relationship between the number of organic pages and average organic traffic, which tells us that traffic is driven by the number of pages. That is not always the case. Sometimes the number of organic pages or pages in general is static while organic traffic declines. And that is an indication that something, the pages are still there, but something else changed. Maybe the content was really bad and Google punished that. Or maybe they aggressively built links, or maybe they lost links. So in this case, we can see that the traffic dip is likely driven by fewer pages. Next, we want to compare the latest dip with a spike, right? So we basically want to get a before and after comparison. We can see that the most recent date in December is still pretty much the dip, and July was the spike. So we're going to compare today with July of 2022. Now, the next thing you really want to make sure is you want to set the changes to absolute, not percentage or charts, because in the next step, we're going to sort this table down here by traffic. And if changes to percentage, then you get a relative change, and that doesn't tell you which pages that drove the most traffic before are now driving a lot less. We want to make sure that we sort descending, meaning that the pages that lost the most traffic show up at the top. And once we have that, we can start to see some major patterns here. So number one, I'm going to zoom in here just a little bit. There was a product page, which you can see from the URL here, that lost 35,000 monthly visits. It's a product page about video, logos, some stickers. Seems honestly a little bit spammy. You also see that a sexy shop, whatever that means, page lost some ranks here. We see some other adult topics. So that could be one indication. Either Wish has taken these down, which I think is most likely, or Google has punished them. But I think in this case, since the traffic goes to zero and these pages literally are non-existent anymore, you see them because they're styled as strike through, it's more likely that this was some user-generated spam and Wish took it down. What's also interesting though here is that there's a search page that still seems to exist that lost 16,000 visits, and as good SEOs, we know that Google does not like search pages. So that's an indication that maybe Google punished these search pages as well. And then we see in the other, so we see more adult content here, but there's also some other stuff. For example, in the products /NB, in wish.com/pt/DA, and these all seem to be URLs from other languages. PT is Portuguese, for example. And it seems like Wish has an issue with non-English URLs ranking in the English index. So I would assume that when we check, for example, the PT subdirectory that we see little spikes over time. And the way you can do that is here under competitors, back under overview. So you type in the URL. In this case, it was wish.com/pt for Portuguese. Remember, we still filtered the country by United States, and then we can click away the main domain that we look at, and then we just see these little other directories here. Yeah, and we already see is that there is some sort of a spike that then decreases again. So it seems like another problem that Wish has, besides search pages, adult content, is that some non-English URLs start ranking in the English index, which tells me that there's a problem with languages. So it could be an hreflang problem or something else. Let's see what else. A lot more adult content, more search pages, some of which it seems have been removed. Good idea. More search pages, more adult content here, and then more content from other languages. So it seems that Wish still has some URLs from like search pages, but it also seems like some of these have been taken out. So if you look at the top offenders here for organic traffic losses, I would say we can with decent confidence say that these 3 issues led to the decrease of Wish's traffic here. They removed adult content, search pages might have been punished or might have lost visibility, and they saw some URLs from other languages or content from other languages that had visibility in search for a while and now seems to have either been removed or the problem has been fixed or Google has improved its understanding of these languages. So that would be my understanding for Wish, and this is how to use the top pages featuring Ahrefs effectively. I hope that was useful for you, and I see you in another video.